So if you put in Corona hoax on YouTube and filter by the last hour, because anything longer than that, anything good's going to be removed. So you're just trying to catch something that hasn't yet been removed, and you see all over the world in all different languages, you've got Corona hoax, Corona fake exposed, books, documentaries. I mean, this one here in looks like Spanish or something. Fantastic. You know, all over the world, the whole thing exposed as a scam. And this is one of my favourite ones from Africa. I just saw this one made by an African, thought it was quite funny. Have a look.
Tonight on watch a documentary of a lifetime, coronavirus. Find out why it is most deadly killer in Africa. It is number one killer after motor vehicle accidents, of course, after sexual disease, of course, even after thug combat. Below that, even salmonella. And then we get, of course, noxious gases from oil tanks, drug overdose, yes, blah, 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 venom from snakes and spiders, and, getting slaughtered by a crocodile and hippopotamus and a buffalo. They go down, malaria, go down, down. A staircase, cleaning accident, down, falling, knock your head, down. Drowning in a bathtub, and then number one killer, coronavirus. Find out tonight on E!
Yeah, common cold, common SQ. We're finally learning now that it's the common cold. We've got a WHO official now saying that asymptomatic spread of coronavirus, the 85% of us who don't show any symptoms or have already got coronavirus antibodies to the common cold. So all these people they're testing, it doesn't test for COVID-19, it's testing for any coronavirus. So people are having an antibody response to the common cold, which is a coronavirus. And now the World Health Organization are saying that asymptomatic spread of coronavirus is very rare. So yeah, we've all been on lockdown for absolutely nothing, and the virus is incredibly mild and safe because so many people have antibodies to coronavirus. And there you go, it's all coming out, thank God. But will the politicians just plough on regardless? Because there's still that 80% or more of the population that just blindly follow whatever they say, and even though contrary information can be right in front of them, as we've proven from the start, doesn't seem to make any difference, in my opinion, because the mainstream media journalists have completely failed to relay the information, and they're still failing. They just will not deal in statistics. Their job seems to be or they think their job seems to be to just sort of hint people towards the truth. No, just speak the truth plainly. Okay, I've got some really good stuff for you now from Dr. Kaufman. It's his latest video, the latest one I've seen, and I've just mirrored it. I want you to watch it if you haven't seen his work before. Very interesting. And we've got Hancock here in the UK going on and on about this second wave, trying to terrorise us with this second wave. Well, why then did they close down? What did they decommission? The Nightingale Hospital. They decommissioned the Nightingale Hospital because they're so worried about a second wave. Why doesn't a journalist answer such a simple question? And I said to Hitchens earlier, this is me here. I mean, it's pretty depressing. I went outside and started chatting with the locals here in this village that I've moored up in. Very depressing. Basically, the public believe the daily death figures like gospel. Just speaking to them, this is me. All these posts here are me. Just been speaking to them like gospel. The concept they are exaggerated bemuses them. Well done, Peter. Yeah, because it's his fault. And this was supposed to be on John Redwood's blog, but I posted it here by accident. John, The public believes the daily COVID death figures like gospel. So with this incredible trust you have on this issue, are you holding those tricking them to account? Okay. You know, I have just spoke to the people of Atherstone. Every single one of them has never even heard of the concept of a political hoax or exaggerating deaths. They were all bemused by the idea. Peter's highly censored message has not got through. That's sarcasm. We are in a worse state than the Soviets ever were. Yeah, because, and I've put here, will some journalist ask Hancock why he is so worried about a second wave when he decommissioned the Nightingale Hospital? We have utter tyranny going on, and journalists intent on saving the politicians, not the public. And I put emergency. Yeah, and he's put through. In fact, he's put through all. These are all my posts.
Thousands of people took part in further anti-racism protests across Britain today, Tens of thousands of people took part in further anti-racism protests across Britain today, with the statue of a 17th century slave trader pulled down in Bristol. The monument to Edward Colston, which had stood in the city centre for more than a century, was toppled and pushed into the river. The latest demonstrations came 13 days after the killing of George. Tens of thousands of people took part in further anti-racism protests across Britain today, with the statue of a 17th century slave trader pulled down in Bristol. The monument to Edward Colston, which had stood in the city centre for more than a century, was toppled and pushed into the river. The latest demonstrations came 13 days after the killing of George Floyd by US police, and despite the government here urging people not to take part because of the risk of catching or spreading coronavirus. Tonight, Boris Johnson defended the right to protest peacefully, but said the weekend's demonstrations had been subverted by thuggery. From Bristol, John Kay sent us this report.
300 years after his death, Edward Colston's fall from grace. For centuries, he took pride of place in Bristol, celebrated as a merchant, politician and philanthropist. Now reviled for his part in the slave.
The police chiefs keep repeating that they will not intervene if you threaten violence, but if you are peaceful, they will intervene. Are they too stupid to understand the implications of their own words? You know, they won't intervene in these violent protests because they're worried about the violence. But if little old 78-year-old Corbyn goes and peacefully demonstrates against the lockdown, you know, they'll all go and round him up because no chance of any violence there. Absolutely. What the hell are the police coming out with statements like this for? This is a few times I've heard this now. They're not going to get involved because they're worried about violence, about the violence. But if you're a peaceful protester, they'll be violent against you. You know, like I said, the police have to be disbanded. Absolute ridiculous nonsense they're coming out with now.
Allowing yourselves to be fucking brainwashed. 100% say no to this fucking shite. Yes.
I'm protesting because our liberties have been taken away by a government under dodgy scientific data, and it's an absolute outrage. I'm here specifically to honour my grandfather, who fought on the beaches of Normandy in 1944. He fought for my freedom, and the least I can do is come out here and protest for my freedom. I really resent my government telling me what I have to do, especially when it's based on dodgy scientific data. There are thousands of eminent scientists and doctors around the world that are telling us that this is a fraud. We are being conned. We are being conned by governments of all colours around the world. That's why I'm here.
Stand back, sir, please.
He's pulling my trousers down! He's pulling my trousers down! He's pulling my trousers down! Please, move back! My arms are fucking high! Will you listen? Trousers up! Pull my trousers up! these trousers down.
1, 2, 3, 3. PC, 1, 2, 3, 3. Police constable, on number 1, 2, 3, 3.
Social distancing does not reduce COVID spread. It doesn't reduce it. Look at Sweden, look at other countries, it doesn't reduce it.
For having a voice.
Go, Jutin. Speaking the truth.
They're arresting me for being in the park, you understand? This is tyranny. This is the human rights violation, yeah, and obviously he didn't like what I said.
We're all detained. There's another one.
As I've put here, looks like another virtue signalling act of tyranny from a despotic far left-wing government working together with the MSM. Of course, it was a staged event for the cameras. That's why the police weren't getting involved. If they were protesting against things which were not politically approved for virtue signalling purposes, you know, the government don't give a shit about racism. In my opinion, the Tories, they just all they care about is conning the public, and if that means virtue signalling and pretending to be, you know, some sort of radical anti-left, anti-racist, that's what they'll do. They'll pretend to be radical anti-left, anti-racist, but of course, you know, we all know they don't give a shit about anything. So as I've put here, if they were protesting against things which were not politically approved, the police would have crushed them. Look what happened to Corbyn's more intelligent brother and his followers when peacefully protesting the lockdown. That's going to be the iconic symbol for the for this radical government, which they allowed, of course. I mean, which they if that was protesters against the lockdown, they'd have had the crap kicked out of them, you know, because they weren't violent. So, because the police, as the police keep telling us, they only pick on the peaceful protesters. Disgusting. Yeah, so I did this video, or uploaded this video of Hitchens, not because it's a good video. I don't think it's a very good video at all. I think it's rubbish. But I just wanted to, he has read this. That's the point. I just wanted to put this video up so he'd read this. Because I'm still working on him. Sorry, by the way, if there's noise in the background, if you can hear my engine running, I am out on a boat and my batteries have collapsed. You know, my leisure batteries. So I've got to run the engine for power. And it's 10 o'clock at night now, and the neighbours, i.e. other boaters nearby, are going to complain if I don't turn the engine off shortly. So I'm going to have to turn the engine off, which means I've got no power to do long uploads. In fact, I can't do anything. My whole internet and everything, like last night, my battery's completely collapsed, and I need to get new batteries. Basically, I can't run the generator or the engine late at night here, or after sort of 8 o'clock. So I'm limited to what I can do. I can't even go online to chat to you at the moment until I get sorted with my power supply and my internet connection, because I've got a really bad internet connection. But yeah, so that's, I'm not that's why I put Peter Hinch. I just wanted to mention this though before I go. I was going to do a full mirror of this, and when I'm in a good internet connection, I'll do a full mirror of it, but I've put the link below for you. Everyone should watch this. A latest video by Dr. Kaufman, excellent stuff, really interesting. Like I say, link below, so I can't upload it, I can't do anything. My batteries are about to go.
Should anyone, including the vulnerable and elderly, even be remotely concerned about this COVID-19?
I don't believe so, no.
Now hold on. I know what some of you may be thinking. This is some crazy conspiracy theory, and you still might think that by the end of this video. But please, for the sake of your life, for the sake of your health, and for the sake of your family's health, at least give this video a chance. That's all I'm asking. I ask that you watch this video all the way through with an open mind and open ears, and please reserve your judgments until the end of the video. What's presented in this video is Dr. Andrew Kaufman's perspective on what's actually going on with COVID-19. This, my friends, you will not find in the mainstream media, which is why I wanted to present you this information. The mainstream media no longer has full control over the information that we the people have access to. No longer do we just have black box TVs, we have phones, we have computers that we can do our own research and make our own decisions about. And that, my friends, is the beauty of the world we live in today. Dr. Andrew Kaufman is a graduate from the Medical University of South Carolina with also a Bachelor's of Science in Molecular Biology from MIT. He has conducted and published original research as well as lecturing, mentoring, and supervising medical students as well as fellows in all psychiatric specialties. Dr. Kaufman recently lost his job as a practicing doctor.
Yeah, he lost his job, but have you ever seen Peter Hitchens mention Dr. Kaufman? Again, Peter, if you're watching this, Dr. Kaufman, look him up. He's lost his job, he's put his job on the line, not like you haven't lost your job.
Because he refused to conform to what he...
Because you refuse to conform, but Dr. Kaufman has. So at least give these people a voice in the mainstream media. Okay, link below everyone, please watch this video, it's good stuff. Thanks, bye.